Well, welcome back to another episode of In Good Company, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. And this next guest, I've actually met him for the first time today. We've been friends for a whopping 10 minutes at this point. But he is a St. John Fisher grad, just like myself. We had a great opportunity to go speak to a class of marketing students that he is actually going to speak to right after this episode. So anyone that's a St. John Fisher grad that's from the Rochester area, they're definitely a friend of mine, and so excited to welcome you onto the podcast for the first time. Skinny Regis, how are you, my friend?
I'm awesome, Mike. Appreciate the opportunity. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We get a lot of synergies and a lot of the same connections, and I'm excited to jam.
Me too, man. And so let's just rip the Band-Aid off while we can. Skinny Regis.
Yeah.
Is Skinny your real name? Is this some sort of...
No, my name is John. It's very boring, and it's pretty... it's just boring. When I was growing up, I grew up on a dairy farm out in Wayne County, out in the suburbs, and I was 6'4" and about 140 pounds at one point. I played on the football team in high school, and I remember multiple times getting hit so hard I blacked out. So I was a small lad, to say the least.
Wow.
And I was truly skinny. So now I'm just normal, but the name has stuck. It literally has been following me for 30 plus years now.
Gosh, can you imagine if you get chubby? If you get...
That's what people say.
What will we do?
I know. People are like, I haven't met you yet. I don't know if you're a 350 pound man or, if you're super skinny. So,
wow.
No, it's followed me through my life. I've embraced it. If you email me at my company, it's skinny at.
How funny.
All of my profiles on social and LinkedIn and whatnot, they're all skinny. So I've just kind of pivoted and embraced it instead of fighting it. And so if we're in a group or a crowd and you yell out John, there's a pretty good chance I'm not even going to answer.
Wow.
Because everybody at work, my grandmother, my mother, my parents, like
How
everybody.
about it?
Yep.
How about it?
Yeah.
So where did you grow up? For those who don't know your story, give us a little bit of rundown. Where'd you grow up?
Yep.
What kind of brought you to where you're at today? And obviously we'll get into your business.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I grew up on a dairy farm in the suburbs of Rochester on the east side, small town called Macedon, just outside of Fairport. And I always vowed that I'd move to the 585 in Rochester and Monroe County when I got the chance, just because there was a lot more opportunity and vision and things like that. So grew up there, went to community college, failed out of that pretty hard, and found myself at Fisher. I had to get pretty creative in trying to get into Fisher after you fail out of community college, which is essentially 13th grade. So that's a whole nother story we can dive into if you want, Mike. But after my 4 years, got into construction and ran a company there, started my own construction company. And then from there, the company that I'm in now, where we print drinkware, was an opportunity that fell into my lap because my stepfather owned it and he didn't really have a great exit strategy. So here we are today. Now I have a business with 30 employees and we are shipping to 48 states nationally every month and having a good time with it. Just trying to grow and create social content and keep up with the times.
Yeah. It's incredible,
so, it's
man. I do want to pause. We don't need to dig in too deep on the failed out hard portion, but I do just want to sit here for a second because I think we can see thriving businesses. We can see people with the college degrees and the happy families and kiddos and everything else.
Yeah.
And we can at times really miss the real human elements of the story and the pain that it took to get there.
Yeah.
For someone that's watching or listening to this podcast that maybe isn't a great student, or maybe they have constantly been, you're pretty good, but you're not good enough to make this sports team, or you're doing okay, but you're not quite that top tier, type of person that we're looking for. For someone that's faced rejection or been kind of in that season of, am I good enough? Am I actually able to accomplish this? What advice might you have for someone like that that's actually in a season like that right now?
Yeah. This is actually a spot that calls to my heart, and part of my legacy as I grow is reaching out to kids and people in that scenario that are 17, 18, 19 years old, because that's where I fell.
Yeah.
When I graduated high school, I wasn't a popular kid. I wasn't, I wasn't depressed or anything like that, but I wasn't on I was on some sports teams, but I wasn't a scholar athlete by any means. I was kind of middle of the pack. By working on this farm that I was on, I didn't really reach out and have a big social network of friends and whatnot. So I kind of made a vow to myself that I was going to reinvent myself when I went to Fisher, actually. And I did. And now Skinny evolved, embraced the name. I became much more outgoing, way less introverted. And that was just a switch that I did myself, and just decided to go for it. Not that I was rejected, but again, I was kind of middle of the pack coming out of high school. But I guess what I would say is persevere, push through, know that there's so much opportunity on the other side. Just because this thing didn't work out or this team didn't work out, there's another team. There's private lessons you can take. There's all these other avenues that you can go. There's always more options. Yeah. In the moment, it feels like failure, and you feel like you can't get back up. But persevere, push up. That's what being an entrepreneur is. You know this. I know this.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say these things, but in the moment, it's really tough to pull yourself up. Yeah. And really go for it and work through these things and realize that there is opportunity. There's sometimes the best things in life are right piggybacking on the backside of some failure or something terrible that happened. Yeah.
And again, the way in which you took over the business that you're now running and continuing to grow and scale, that's not a common experience either. It's like a lot of people that get jobs are getting their resume together and sitting down a slew of interviews, and here you are with a family-run business that's someone in the family. Talk about that handoff where the baton was passed. Kind of where was the business at? Was it in its infancy? Kind of what did it look like, and where are we at today?
The company had been run since 1979. It had a bunch of different owners, so it's 40 plus years old.
Wow.
Started in a garage out in Fairport, and like I said, a couple owners down the road. My stepfather joined and eventually bought it, took it over, and he was running it for a long time. He had turned it around. It was kind of upside down, to be honest, and I was kind of following his journey from the side because I was growing my construction business with another Fisher grad who's one of my best friends, still is today, and he's still running the construction business. But I went to a Tony Robbins conference to grow my construction business.
All right.
And while I was down there, I had an epiphany. Like we were looking at taking our construction business and opening up into some higher end design. I had some pretty cool marketing ideas as far as teaming up with HGTV. We were getting into home inspections. We were really broadening what we were doing. And one of the breakout sessions that we were doing with Tony had us thinking really outside of the box. And I remember getting off the airplane coming home, and I drove directly to my stepfather's office, and I sat down and I said, "What are you going to do with this thing? What's your exit strategy?" And he goes, "Well, I spent the last 3 years trying to turn this thing around, and it's finally in a good spot. I haven't even thought about it." I'm like, "You're 60 years old. You got to start thinking about this thing. This isn't something that you do in 90 days, and exit." And then we started talking. And I said, "You know what? I'm willing to grind and eat crap for a while, and I'll go run the forklift, and I'll be the shipper, and I'll print, and I've done every single job under the roof in our company, including sales for quite a while. And then I was VP under him, and daily we would look at the financials, we would do all the things, to groom me into essentially buying it, taking it over. So it was a journey in itself, just doing those things. I remember 2 a.m. doing box truck transfers to warehouses just to grind and grind and grind. So it's not all about interviews and resumes, like you said. There's creative ways to get into these things. But if I didn't, drive to his office and sit down and have that awkward conversation, not awkward, but that conversation, who knows where it would have been. And I might still be swinging a hammer and doing that. And who knows, maybe I'd be more happy doing that. Who knows? But you make these decisions, and most times they work out.
Yeah. And I don't mean this in any disrespect to the Gen Zers or younger millennials, right? But I think the millennial generation was really the first one that was kind of that start of kind of that entitled generation, right? Where I would go play baseball. I got a trophy, I got a medal for playing baseball as a participation trophy.
Yeah.
And newsflash, I was so bad at baseball. Like my dad just told me a story. He's like, "I bought you the best glove. We went to Dick's. You were so excited, and you sucked." Right. So long story short, my whole life, it's like I'm getting these participation type of trophies. I'm getting all this pat on the back.
Yeah.
And there's a tendency to happen that can happen where we really aren't willing to put in the grind, but we want to get the reward.
Yeah.
And the story that you're talking about is this 2 a.m., I had a successful construction company, and I was willing to eat glass and to go into this step of faith, this unknown place, and go, "God, I hope you're listening. I hope you're out there. I hope this works." For someone that's in a place right now that maybe has been, and again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but has maybe kind of been taking the easy way out.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them on how do you go from kind of that easier path to say, you know what, I'm putting these boots on, come hell or high water, I'm not stopping until this thing wins.
Yep.
How do you get there with a mindset shift?
Some of it's innate. I really do believe some of it's innate. The new thing, I don't want to say it's new, but 15 years ago, the new thing was to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? We're all on social media. You can't get away from it. That's the thing. Everybody wants to be an influencer, an affiliate, an entrepreneur. They want to start their own gig. But like you said, no one's prepared to do the stuff behind the scenes that sucks. You know, the stuff where you have to shoot this podcast twice because you forgot to turn the camera on and you just wasted 2 hours. Or they, you know, all of these things that go on where a vendor just adds 20% to your invoice and you don't realize that that's coming and you have to account for that and you have to break that to your, there's all these things that happen. I think social media has exacerbated this and made it seem so fun and easy, and being an entrepreneur and working for yourself is so easy. It is a grind. And I'm going to tell you, if you go home and you eat dinner and you watch Wheel of Fortune, it's not for you. You need to be doing this until 8, 9, 10 o'clock. When I started my construction company, I was banging on the door at Home Depot every morning, like, let's go, I got to get my day going. And then you go do proposals and meet people at night until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's a grind. And you just got to put in the work. You got to put in the reps. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing right. And you got to be in it for the long haul. If you're looking to fall into something or one viral video is going to take you to the top, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you, anything that you want and is worth wanting takes a lot of work, and a lot of perseverance, you know.
It's funny you bring up the virality thing too. We've had guests on this podcast that have talked about a couple of videos that have gotten 2-3 million views. If you don't have the system or the business to support the virality, then you're going to fall to the strength of your systems, right? And it's brilliant what you're bringing up because you know, we live in the, I want to work remote or I want to work hybrid or, and again, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. It's just, hey, if you're working part-time or you're working hybrid like that, then you better be absolutely crushing when you're in the office, or you better be going above and beyond. And I think for anyone listening that does want to be that entrepreneur, it is hard, man. It's hard work. And we were talking about this a little bit before of like, you have 30 employees with families and dinner tables and homes and, you know, the whole deal. When you're just starting out and you're running a business, if something, you know, you lose a client, no big deal. It's just me. Still tough, but I'll go find someone else and we'll be good. Now, how have you been able to manage that kind of from the scalability side of, hey, this is kind of that solopreneur, like smaller outfit to really getting that scalable? How have you been able to manage that tension?
I've been fortunate that as I've grown in my journey, each business has been a little smaller and then, or it's smaller and then a little bit bigger and then a little bit bigger. I mean, to where I am now. But like you said before, if I lost a client or if something went sideways or we lost money on a job, I wouldn't get paid for a little while. You know, I can go a month without a paycheck. You know, I can grind, I can do whatever. I've got savings. I'm smart enough. My 30 employees may not have that. They might not have the savings. They might be living paycheck to paycheck. I can't just ask them not to get paid because I made a decision or I made a bad choice or we lost a customer or there's a quality defect. So as I've scaled, I've kind of embraced that a little more. You keep more money in the coffers. You make these calculated decisions. You don't just go spending every dollar you have, or, you know, I'll be honest, it's one of the things that I ran into about 2.5, 3 years ago. Our business was doing really, really well. Scaling almost to an insurmountable, like we couldn't keep it all under one roof. We had 4 offsite warehouses that we were using, transferring glassware every day between warehouses. And I decided to buy a new building, and it's over twice as big as the building that we were in. The day I signed the papers, the market really started, you know, going backwards on us. So I made this decision and I spent a lot of what we had in the savings as a down payment. And now the market's starting to slow down, you know, like it was the perfect storm. And that was the same time I had signed on into a mentoring program with Gary Vaynerchuk. I was telling you about that and the expenses for that. And like I had all these expenses,
couple $100
all at
I'm
once.
sure.
Yeah, it was like $50.
Yeah.
But I found myself like, man, we're kind of over leveraged here. Kind of made a couple too many big decisions at once, and I don't want to say too big, but definitely put the pinch on and started feeling some heat, some stress, and some pressure, which is part of being an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be in that scenario.
Just to speak to that really quick, I think when you think about the journey of an entrepreneur, maybe from the outside in, you think about the initial faith step. Like, I got the dream, I got the vision, let's go make this dream possible. What people don't realize is being an entrepreneur, there are a series of faith steps. So the example that you shared of, hey, we're scaling, like we're kind of running out of space. I'm going to take this step. As soon as you took the step, market's hitting back. I just had this investment over here.
Yep.
Again, I just think we live in the comfort type of ecosystem, which is like, well, if I sacrifice for 90 days, then for the rest of the year, I'll be able to take my vacation and exhale, right?
Yep.
How do you balance the tension between wanting to show up well at home, wanting to continue to live a life that you're proud of and that you can be healthy and work out and eat right and like all the other things that are constantly going on, and yet you're still grinding, right?
Yeah.
So how do you not grind to a pulp, but how do you still show up well for work and at home?
People talk about the work-life balance, and I don't necessarily buy into an even balance, where it's 60, 40, 30, 20. It's like marriage, right? It's 100%. It's 100%, right?
Yep.
There's no real good balance that applies to everybody, but I love what I do. I enjoy going to work at 5:30 in the morning when no one's there, walking in, turning all the lights on, unlocking the doors. I don't know why there's a sense of pride, because this is mine. Like, I'm getting in here. I'm in here when the employees come in. There's somewhat of pride that I'm sitting at my desk already working.
It's like, hey, Chuck, I'm already here, brother.
Yep. I beat you to it today, buddy. But I really enjoy work. So it's not like Sunday at 2:00. I'm like, tomorrow I gotta go into work. Like, I'm excited to work on the weekends. I'm excited to go do the little stupid things, put up a shelf in my office, on the weekends.
So let me just dig into this, because there's no way when you drop out and then you go to Fisher that you're like, one day, I'm going to run a massive warehouse in Macedon.
Yeah.
So like, how did that switch for you? Because again, and I'm not picking on what you do, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But when you're 17, 18 years old, there's no way that you said, this is my dream job. This is what I'm going to be doing.
Yep. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I'm a people person. Yeah. I just love people, man. I think that's why I love the construction business that I was in. Yeah. I wasn't doing handyman stuff where I was hanging a shelf or putting up a picture for somebody or changing a light bulb or cleaning gutters. We were doing high-end kitchens and bathrooms. We would sell a project and we would be there for 2, 3, 4 months. And we would leave that project, and literally these ladies would make cookies for us every day. They would make lunch for us. We would leave. They would embrace us with hugs and tears because we had such a connection with them. Money didn't even matter to these people at some point, because they just loved having us in their home. We created a connection. I still have friends that I go to Red Wings games, and Fred Costello, the organist from the Red Wings. Yes. He's one of I consider him a very good friend of mine, because we worked in his house with his wife for years and years and years. And I still talk to him bi-monthly, all the time. But did I always envision having a glass business? No. But construction, I was able to work with people and employees and scale that and have, employees. And then the next step was this business, get into this business. I love my employees. They're my family. So I'm constantly in the back on the production floor, like, hey man, what are you doing this weekend for the Bills game? Like, should we put together a watch party? Well, what are we doing? I'm trying to make people better. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to mentor those people. I'm just a people person. I could be selling widgets. I could have who knows, any kind of business. As long as I'm dealing with people, that's all I care.
Wonderful, man.
Remote is not for me, I'll tell you. I kind of ruffled my brow when you were talking about working remote earlier.
Struck a chord.
It's just not for me. I enjoy going to the office and, hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Saying hi. If somebody makes coffee, you get that office vibe. I love people, man. I'm just a people person. So, again,
I'm the same, bro. You're preaching to the choir. My team makes fun of me where it's like, I have to work now, like, please leave me alone. You know what I mean? Because I'm not grinding on them or whatever. It's just.
Yeah. You talk about the work-life balance.
Yeah.
I have that balance at work where, I want to go ask.
There you go.
I don't want to say chit-chat, but, you're generally asking about their lives and like, hey, I know you were doing that thing this weekend. How'd that go? And then, 5 minutes later, it's like, I got to get to work. I can't sit here and talk about your family birthday party or whatever it is, but it's the same with the work-life balance. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it comes in seasons.
Yeah.
You might have a grind season where you don't see your kids very much. Sometimes I can't take them to every single recital or every single match or every game for a time. Yeah. And I'm blessed because my wife is a saint and a superstar. She's a super mom, Yeah. If there's a day where I have to travel or a week that I have to travel, she ponies up. She does it all herself. And she has a very good job herself. She's created a great career for herself. So it's not like she has the expendable time.
Sure.
She just does what she has to do, We're in a tough season right now where we have some sick family members. And I'm stepping up and trying to do everything I can. I have to leave most days between 3 and 4 o'clock to get the kids to where all they got to do because my wife's helping take care of some family members. So it's a give and take. There's no perfect balance, but some days you just have to give yourself a little grace and be like, what, man. I got to work, or what, work's not getting my 100% right now because my family needs me. So there's no perfect balance. I think you just have to have a little grace for yourself and understand that it's never going to be perfect.
It's great, man. Yeah, and I think a lot of times people maybe have this great business idea or they have this great thing that, hey, if I can get all my ducks in a row, then I'll jump out.
Yeah.
Let me just wait till I get married and let me just wait till I have my first house or let me just wait till whatever. And then once I do, now I'll be ready. And I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if I say go.
Yeah.
Like if you got something that God has put on your heart where you're like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
The worst that's going to happen is you're going to step out and you're going to go, I missed it. But if you take that perspective, like you're talking about as a people person, you're making connections, you're learning intricacies of business building, which again, a lot of these things are able to be applied. At the end of the day, are you doing what you told someone that you're able to do for them?
Yeah.
Are you solving a problem and actually have the integrity to do it right? Right? That's it, man.
Yep.
That's business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To build on that, if you don't go, Mike, you're going to live with that regret until you're 90, 100. And you're going to be, in your last days sitting in that bed going, I should have started that baseball card store, or I should have started selling fruit on the side of the road, whatever your business is. But if you're just going to go work for a big conglomerate or you're going to work for some big company or something where you're a number and you've always got that idea and you don't act on it, you're never going to know. You really got to try it, Bro. And what's the worst thing that happens? You go back to your 9 to 5, right? You're like, oh man, I really thought that was for me. It wasn't, I could never go back to a 9 to 5 grind now that I've done it, it would be really hard for me to punch a clock, and I failed a bunch of times.
But you're working more, but yet you're working more than 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But it's something that you love.
But I love it. It's not work. It's not work to me,
Right.
It's just fun.
Right.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. So this podcast is called In Good Company.
Yeah.
And the whole premise behind it is, again, it's not about what you do, it's about who you're doing it with, right? And I think hearing your story about being a people person, obviously I share that with you as well.
Yeah.
So that's a very easy thing for me. We could just stop the episode right here and we're all hunky-dory. We'll go grab drinks and be merry for the rest of the night. It'd be great.
Yep.
Here's kind of the rub, right? You have been willing to make connections and invest in connections that may not exist with just a quick knock on the door. Hey, do you have 5 minutes for me to pick your brain?
Yep.
Why has it been so important and pivotal for you to set money aside in your business, your personal development, to go to conferences, to hire a Gary Vee, to have some of these other opportunities?
Yeah.
Why is that a value to you?
I embody the vision that you need, if you have somewhere you want to go or somewhere that you want to be, find somebody who's there and follow their story. Get a hold of them. Ask them, how did you get there? What were the problems? What were the tribulations? Work with them and figure out the quickest path to success. And that's exactly what I've done in all of the businesses that I've been a part of, conferences to make myself better, to get better and more efficient at things, to just to learn financials, things like that. I'll take a course here and there. I'm always taking online courses. You think it's silly. You're scrolling Instagram. Everybody's got a course, right? I've taken a bunch of them. And I'll be honest, there's a little piece. Is every one of them worth $47? No.
Yeah.
But do I take a little piece of every one of them and it creates who I am? Absolutely.
I wonder why they're all $47 as well.
There's got to be some number, it's why everybody was
psychological.
It's like businesses that were like A+ or AAA, so it'd be first in the yellow pages, right? There's got to be something to the 47. There's some mindset shift or something in marketing that we don't know about.
It's less than $50.
Exactly.
It's great, man.
So I'm willing to invest, and I'm willing to put the time in and the money in, and this Gary Vee thing. The values that he has, they really do embody a lot of what my values are.
Yeah.
So I've really had a calling to kind of follow him, and I follow all of his content. Luckily, he puts out a ton of content. I've read all of his books. My COO at work actually refers to me as a fanboy. Like, you love Gary. I'm like, I don't really love Gary. I think we'd be best friends. Like in a different environment, we would be best friends. You know? So I've been fortunate enough to sit in on conferences with him and talk to him and pitch him and do some things, some very low level stuff. I'm working with his team in a mentorship program that is awesome. I'd love to collaborate with him in some capacity at some point. He knows that. We've talked about it. So we still converse now and again, but that would be something that I'd love to expand as I grow in my journey, to reach out to him and really kind of grow, because everything he talks about is very similar to me. I'm a little crass. I curse now and again. I don't really hold it back. He's very similar. My brand and Pourware Inked, the brand that we have, is very informal. It's very authentic, very transparent. We're not going to be the cheapest guy on the block, but we're not the most expensive. But when you call, you're going to get a human being, and you're going to get someone that's going to try and help you out. So I feel like that's who I've become, and all of the conferences and all of the trainings, that's where it all leads to.
Yeah, the grand irony is I'm looking at a guy who dropped out of junior college, and yet you are learning and paying premium pricing for conferences, people, and you are learning, and you are in this lifelong learner type of seat, which again, I'm walking away feeling encouraged by, because we went to school where marketing, we were joking about this on the phone, where I still remember needing my St. John Fisher college email in order to have access to this bright new thing called Facebook.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the marketing courses that we were taking, very different than what Allie and some of our other Gen Z staff were taking.
Yes.
So just, again, love the idea that there's always new things to learn.
Yeah.
I also think it's very, very pivotal what you said around taking bits from people instead of essentially mimicking or copying, or, man, if it worked for them, then I'm just going to do everything exactly the way that they do it. How have you been able to kind of take some of those things? Because I will tell you from experience, and there's some biblical stories around this stuff too, like I can't wear somebody else's armor that isn't fit for me.
Correct.
Like for the battle that God has called me to, right? And I just think that we are in kind of this mimicky copycat world, even with trends on social media. Oh, this is working. I'm going to do this exact thing over here, right? And then here's the scary part. Sometimes it works. Yeah. So for a minute. Yeah. So you do mimic it, and then you're like, whoa, I'm seeing the results and I'm seeing the stuff.
Yes.
But then you're actually carrying out something that was never yours to begin with. Yeah. Talk about kind of that shift. How have you been able to, again, take bits and pieces without just feeling like, oh, I just want to copy everything this person's doing?
So our brand right now is actually scaling, because, let's be honest, social media is here to stay. It's
no doubt.
Interest media, whatever you want to call it. It's here to stay. We need to embrace it. So we're scaling our brand, and in doing that, we've had to learn. We've enlisted coaches. Actually, I just have a second coach I just brought on for our social media content.
Yeah.
We want to get on selling TikTok Shop and Shopify and Amazon and all these different platforms. I don't know TikTok Shop, Mike.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Fisher here and see if I can find somebody that'll help me. But there's some, I don't know if you know, but there's some pretty big affiliates on TikTok right here in Rochester, New York, that are making lots of money doing it. They know it. So taking a little bit from there, and maybe an intern from here and a little bit from here. I got a coach for Shopify. I have somebody running our ads on Amazon. Just enlisting this team it's more of a team atmosphere for me rather than I'm a know-it-all and I'm sitting on my pulpit at work. That's not how it works. I'm willing to grind it. I'm willing to learn. When I go home at night, I'm scrolling social media, and it's not necessarily just doom scrolling. I'm learning. I'm trying to find these trends, trying to see what these affiliates are doing, what they want, why would they want my product. But it takes a little bit of knowledge from all these different paths and journeys and networking. And I probably spend an hour and a half a day on LinkedIn just looking at profiles, DMing people. That's how I got my latest coach. They're actually out of Buffalo. And I met him in person last weekend at a networking event, and we hit it off. And I'm so excited for him to help us on the Amazon front. And he introduced me to somebody that's going to take our Shopify store to the next level. It's just these networks and every little bit that can help you going into war. It just
but bro, it's
success.
It's your willingness to see that as necessary, and I think for whatever reason we live in this culture of like, I'm gonna lone wolf it, right? Like, I don't need help, I got this, and for whatever reason, and not everybody's like this, but I do think for whatever reason it's kind of like I'm gonna push everybody else down and I'm gonna make my way to the top. And I think when you live in this openness type of posture where you're like, I'm not just like, you're not going to Fisher tonight to just get something.
Right.
You're going to deposit something. And, I've heard a friend say, better is an open hand than a closed fist.
For sure.
If you are giving when your hands are open, they're also open to potentially receive. Right.
Yep.
And I think that the value there is massive. We do a portion in our podcast called Fails of the Week, which we've talked about a couple of different stories and things with you guys. Is there any story in the actual business building side of your business that you just look at, like, someone's driving a fork machine, they bump into something and they shatter all this, whatever. Like, are there some funny stories that maybe weren't funny at the time that are worth sharing?
I don't know of an exact story, but I've certainly done a lot of things and learned a lot through the years, through failures. We'll call them small L's, during the journey. I've certainly went all in on some mentors. Like you said, I've bought mentors. I've DM'd mentors, and not just mentors, but coaches or just people in the industry or whatnot. And, I've followed down some paths that cost me money, cost me time. And I look back at it and I'm like, oh God, I won't make that mistake again, I'll tell you. But in the moment, I thought we were forging forward with this, like grabbing the team and like, get on my back. We're heading in the right direction. We got the right people in front of us. And then at some point you literally, like, the switch goes off and you're like, this isn't working. This isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I thought it was. And you got to pivot, So same with the brand that I bought, for years and years and years, 40 plus years. We've been super profitable and doing a really good job at printing glassware for wineries and breweries and promotional product companies and events, weddings and big festivals. The market for that stuff isn't what it used to be. Breweries are closing at a rapid rate. Wineries are closing at a rapid rate right now. You got to pivot. So we're doing what we can as a business to pivot.
That's great.
So micro fail there. We're not, the business just didn't keep going like I was hoping it would go. So we got to pivot a little bit, So
and even what you brought up about the platforms, right? It's like the amount of, and I'm not picking on anybody, but the amount of within our marketing agency where we will sit in a boardroom with a potential new client and they'll talk about the amount of money that they're spending on like traditional, we do direct mailers and we're in the whatever, we got some billboards and we do iHeartRadio spots and this and that. And I'm looking at them like, that's cool. And I think there's a place for that. But tell me your demographic. And 9 times out of 10, they go, we're usually like 55 plus. We can't seem to crack the code on the younger generation. And I go,
man, I wonder why.
Because ultimately, where are the people that you want to reach? Then go be there. And if you're not, then you're going to reach the other sect, and that's fine. Like all that is good. But I love learning from you and hearing from you that you are already on that forefront of, instead of sitting and like licking your wounds and going, man, I wonder like what's changed and why, this, like, you're not using it as an excuse. You're using it as fuel for change. And that's massive. And I think for any business owner that's listening, stop sitting and licking your wounds and just causing an excuse for why something isn't working. I love your ability to forge forward And I know even by the time we air this episode, like change is already going to be implemented and process and progress is already going to be there.
About 90 days ago, I made 4 phone calls to 4 of our biggest competitors. People that we don't, like, we're at a trade show and, you know, you walk by their booth and you just kind of look the other way, or at least they do. And I literally called all 4 of them, and 4 of the biggest ones. And I said, what are you guys seeing in the market here? I'm seeing a pretty good shift. And I know you are too, because I talk to our suppliers and all these things. Like, if there's an opportunity, reach out to me. Let me know. Like, we're all in this together. I'm not trying to steal all of your customers. There's enough of the pie for all of us to eat. But if we can get a discount by buying a tractor trailer load of glassware and we split it up, and that just saved us both 20% on the trucking or whatever it is, or if you have extra in your warehouse and I need some, let's open these lines of communication. And you would be surprised how open people are to that when you approach it with a little humility and a little bit of just openness to talk and communicate, and like, I'm here to help you. You know, that's how I brought it to the table, was like, I have a warehouse full of stuff. I know you got a warehouse full of stuff. My stuff is your stuff. If you want it, I'll sell it to you at the same cost. I'm not going to mark it up. We'll just move it so that you don't have to go to the supplier and pull it out of Texas. You know, we're only 2 states away. You can get it there a lot cheaper from me. That, and then coupling it with these new platforms that we're talking about, I'm looking forward already to, I don't know how aware you are to online shopping and live shopping.
Oh, bro.
That's the next thing. In China and Japan, 60% of online sales, as of right now, October 29th, 60 to 65% of online sales are done on live shopping.
Yep.
Live social shopping, like QVC on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, TikTok shop style.
Yep.
We're headed there. I'm already trying to get to that. So, like,
Studio B, bro. We're building it for you right now. Rochester.
Let's go.
It's like, oh no, they're here again. Yeah.
I hope so. That means we're making money and we're doing something right. It. So it's all about the pivot, man. It's all about moving to where your market is, where they're going, and heading them off at the pass and staying ahead of them. You know, that's what it really comes down to.
By the time we will air this episode, a report just came out that with the emergence of AI on search engines, 60% of Google searches result in a non-click.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients have traditionally run Google Ads, search engine optimization, which are services that we offer.
Yep.
But we are not going to sit here ever as a business and go, hey, you signed up for this, so we got to keep you doing this.
Yep.
The idea is that we're taking the data and going, okay, where are some other opportunities?
Let's move it. Yep.
Doesn't mean we will never do Google Ads or any of those things, but how do we start to pivot some of that? And I'm feeling encouraged chatting with you, man, because I think that is the name of the game is, hey, if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to go find a professional that does, and I'm willing to pay him to do it. Even if business isn't perfect and there's not a ton of money set aside for something like this, I know that this is going to bring breakthrough.
Yeah.
Dude, it's massive.
I think Google's seen this coming for a while. That's why Google has so many offshoots and other things that they offer to us. Yep. I think they knew that the AI boom was coming here. I'm not going to say SEO is dead, but all this money that we've put in for 10 years, 15 years into SEO doesn't mean anything anymore now that we have all, AI. I just was on a webinar 2 days ago with one of the Chrome extensions that we use for our Amazon listings. Yep. And they've taught us that keywords for years and years and years. You got to have all these keywords in there, keywords stuffing your listings and all these things. It's all for naught. Now it's all AI mapping your listings. It's all we have to recreate all of our listings and change everything. The whole narrative is changing. So we all you got to pivot. If you're just going to sit there and keep doing what you always did, you're going to fall behind. It's
100%.
By the day. It's changing by the day, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, it's like the things that are going to make the biggest difference is what is human.
Yeah.
Because all these other tools and all these other things will continue to change, and it will get weird and dark and scary, and some people are really scared of that.
Yeah.
But it will also cause advancements and like incredible positive things, just like the internet did, just like cell phones do, et cetera.
Yep.
But I love the idea of harnessing it and then being able to say, how can we still make this human? You bring up social selling, having a personality that is a people person, that is selling the product, pushing the product, but actually connecting with people in the chat and engaging with people.
Yep.
It's like people are streaming video games online and all they're doing is just shouting people out.
Yep.
Bro, the other day, this is going to sound, it's a silly example. I'm just doing like my late night scroll, TikTok, whatever.
Yep.
One of my buddies that I know lives in Colorado. He's just playing guitar, and he's got like a guitar set up with like, comment a song in the comments, you know? And you just see all these comments, and he's got like 2,000 followers, maybe not a ton.
Yep.
But he's on TikTok live.
Yep.
And so now it's like boosting it.
Oh yeah.
So then something crazy happens. He's got probably 5,000 people in the room, right? My son finishes brushing his teeth. He's 5 years old. I'm still on, don't judge my parenting here, but I'm still on my phone. I'm walking him to his bed, right? And I just comment, I go, yo, Joe, say goodnight to Gio real quick.
Yeah.
And he's about to start a song, and he goes, just real quick, shout out, sleep good, little Gio, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And my son's face, like there's this moment, and I know this is a silly example.
No, it's
brother,
very true.
My son felt like some like YouTube extraordinaire star just took a moment and like said, hey man, I see you.
Yeah.
And that's the linchpin.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's 5 and it is what it is, but that's the linchpin between being able to take kind of what was old and being able to merge it into what is new. And I love where you're headed. I love what you're doing. I'm so excited, man, to be a part of this and in any capacity. And obviously, man, Skinny Regis, baby. In the pod, man, living. There's one final point of our podcast. It's one of my favorites. It's the rapid fire hot seat questions.
Oh God, here we go.
You're supposed to sweat, get really nervous. This is like very, very scary.
Let's go.
We already got the first one, but I'm going to ask it a different way. How did you get the nickname Sonny or Skinny? Did somebody give this to you?
Yeah, that farm that I was growing up on, actually, my childhood friend's father.
Okay.
He coined it one day. I don't know where it was, up in a haymow or something.
I love it.
And God rest his soul, we just lost him a couple years ago. But he coined that phrase, and man, he wouldn't let it go. So he willed it.
There it is.
He willed it to manifestation.
Well, I'm sure he's thrilled. Yeah. What's the favorite piece that you've ever created, or maybe like a catchphrase, or some of the funnier dynamic ones that you guys have done? Is there anything that you're like, dude, this is mint, like proud to have done this?
As far as in my journey or a product, what do you?
I'm thinking of a product,
okay.
like in your current business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I mean, you're from construction too, bro. So
no,
like,
that's all right.
You know.
We actually have a proprietary glass that I'm not gonna say invented, but we revamped. A company went out of business. This was a very popular stemmed beer glass. It was called the Charente glass. One of the very well-known breweries in the Northeast used it. And everybody knows this thing. It's called the balloon glass. Everybody knows what it is.
How about it?
About 3 years ago, we embarked on this journey, going to our supplier, remaking the molds. This was made in Belgium originally. I tried buying the molds in Belgium. I tried buying the IP from Belgium. I tried that route. It was all dead end. So I had to recreate it here in the States. In April of this year, we actually went to our domestic supplier of glassware, and we watched the first pieces roll off the production line, and you'll find them on our Amazon store. There's been a great outpouring of support as we unveiled this glass. I'm really proud of it. We had to buy 150,000 of these pieces for the initial production run, so I don't have to tell you what the investment is. But it's been, mold changes and redesigns and, trying to find a good supplier to partner with. It's been a long journey, but I'm really proud of it. It's been a fun process to do, and I'm really hoping to take it to the moon.
Dude, I'll buy some. I mean, I won't buy that many SKUs, but
no, I'll bring you one. I
love it. What would be one word that describes your entrepreneurship journey?
This is gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna go with cursive.
Okay.
I've lived a cursive life. I feel like I go 2 steps back, 1 step forward one day. Then it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Being an entrepreneur has never been easy or fast or quick growth. We talk about trying to scale and you go viral and all those things, and all of a sudden you're successful. It doesn't work that way. You know? So I would say my life is hectic, and I have big goals. I act fast, and sometimes it bites me in the butt. So I would say cursive. I'm living life in cursive, man. I'm all over the board. If you look at a graph, I'm all over the board.
Dude, you do act fast, because how we met was a mutual connection. Someone sent a group text.
Yep.
Then you reached out and said, "Hey, I've already listened to 2 of your podcast episodes." Within 2 hours, which is about the length of the episodes.
Yep.
Then we talked yesterday.
Yep.
And then you were like, and then I said, "Well, do you want to come on the podcast tomorrow?" And you said, "Sure."
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
So I can attest.
It's all about prioritizing and moving things around and, making it work. And I said, I got this one window. I got to be in a seat in just an hour here, preaching to the other class. So
I love it.
It worked out, like you find like people and you find things that you believe in and you think are going to move the needle and you act. You just have to act, you can't just sit back and wait for life to give you flowers.
Yep.
You got to make it. I'm
with it. What's your go-to spot in Western New York or Rochester area to really unwind after busy week?
Yeah.
What's kind of that spot?
One of the downfalls I feel is I get caught in the weeds sometimes, like any entrepreneur, like if there's a problem on the production floor, I can really fix any problem. So I find myself getting involved. And even though I have a great production team and a great production manager, I still find myself getting involved, and I want to know how this client's getting treated, and that we're going to resolve this problem in good fashion. So I have to sometimes separate myself and literally just leave the premises, just leave. So I got a Fairport spot, Fairport Coffee. I go down there, just separate myself, pull out my laptop, take my 30,000 foot view of the business, and try to kind of separate myself. A lot of times it's first thing in the morning. If I roll in at 10:30, the team knows, like, oh man, changes are coming. We're driving forward here. So, and then I'm a park guy. I'll go to the park and just sit on a bench. Probably 12 weeks ago, I'm sitting on a park bench and an older gentleman came up, sat next to me, just started shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
Become one of my best friends. We go to the park once a week now. We get coffee now and again.
I love it.
Unfortunately, he's got some health problems. He's not going to be with us long. So, there's been a calling to help him. He's helping me and I'm helping him. We're both going through some time. So, life is about seasons, Mike.
Dude. And it's about margin to make room for some of those things.
Yeah.
Because again, I think if we get back to that, I know we harped on it, but it's like if you stay too hard in the grind, and yes, it's meaningful work, and yes, we love it and all those things, but to make that margin create some of those, what I would call God moments, and human connections.
Yeah.
The last question that I got two more.
Yeah.
Who's the one person that is like kind of a dream collab for you guys that you'd love to?
You know where I'm going with this.
Well,
you know where I'm going.
I want to hear you say it.
No, No, I really do. I really would love to at some point do something with Gary Vee, something big, some kind of project or something like that. There's a lot of people that, you and I are very like-minded.
Yep.
To get to that next stage and international stage, I feel like there's a collaboration or something in the works. There actually is something in the works. So we'll leave the little teaser out there. But
that's a little teaser. Stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. So Gary Vee is definitely one of the guys. Like I said, our values aligned. We really eat and breathe and sleep the same sentiments all the time. So I'd love to be doing something with him on a bigger platform.
Love it. Last one. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I think if I could go back to when I was 18, 19, 20, going through high school and college, I would tell myself, every single person that you interact with, shake their hand, remember their name, and provide some sort of value with them. Make a friend with every person on campus. Because I look back at my Fisher years, and I did do that. I somewhat transformed myself when I went through Fisher, and I made a lot of friends. Some of my best business contacts, some of my best friends, all went to Fisher with me. They're still 20, 25 years later, my first phone call. When I get in the car and I got a half an hour ride, if it's over 15 minutes, I always call somebody.
That's awesome.
And I'm calling one of my buddies in Saratoga. I'm calling one of my buddies in Buffalo. I'm calling, or I'll tell them, listen, I'm having a hard time with this, talk me through it, I'd love to have an advisory board. I've already talked about it. And like 6 out of the first 9 people would be my Fisher people. So
done.
Provide value to as many people as you can in life, and it's going to come back to you tenfold. That's
incredible.
That's exactly my mindset.
It's awesome, man. Thank you so much for the time today, brother.
This has been awesome, Mike. I appreciate it.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of In Good Company, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. Take care.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more information or to connect with Mike, visit him online at thomasmediagroup.co or on Instagram at Michael L. Thomas. Thanks again for listening, and remember, the best of business happens in good company. We'll see you next time.